Hi, you are watching SightsIn and this is Romesh Srivastava. Please do subscribe the channel for the HR news, for HR updates and conversation with the top notch HRs. Today, we are going to discuss about the second quarter results of India's top IT companies like TCS, Infosys, HCLTech, Wipro, etc. Though we are a little delayed, but if you look at the crux of this report, so there is uncertainty in the IT market, margins are under stress. However, there is little uprise on net profit. Salary hikes are being deferred with some of the companies. Hiring is either slow or that is freezed at some level. Attrition has returned to the pre-pandemic level. There is a big relief for IT companies, but there's a dip in headcounts that is concern for the job hopefuls. We will discuss in detail. Today we have a senior HR leader. Let me introduce Mr. Milind Mutalik. He's a former Chief People Officer at Ecolite Digital. Welcome, Milind.
Thank you so much, Romesh. And yes, I understand we are a little delayed. However, the tone or trends doesn't change, and I believe based on that we can take it up for the discussion. And I'll whatever I could capture as a points, let me take it up while I'm discussing the aspects with you on your questions. Yeah.
Milind, as I shared a couple of points based on this report. So, what is your opening comment on this? How do you see this second quarter results, and how do you see the future of IT industry in coming quarters?
I know it's a very broad, big question. However, let me say that quickly. Looking at the current scenario, there's a definite, kind of pressure on a geopolitical tensions, there are financial risks which are happening. You have been finding that, war which is happening, that's creating a kind of a global flutters on various areas, like, there's a inflation, labor shortage, and various other trade barriers which are getting created. We recently also had our own share market going down by you know kind of 3,300 point, BSCN, in a similar way Nifty going down, etc. Now this also, so I'm trying to point out there are going to be some of the uncertainties which will be around us, and this change in the share market, as we have seen, has a lot of trends which you see. The US economy trends are directly impacting us on the market. And then when there is a bond yield of 5%, FPIs are withdrawing from us and trying to put in the money there. The whole of, I would say, asset under management of a foreign portfolio investments are likely to be under pressure. Now, with all this, there is definite opportunity in the future for the typical financial organization. And I have been always saying, when it comes to IT services organization, coming back to our point of quarter two results, financial, whole of a stream gives a lot of IT services business. While I'm not saying that others don't, but that's something which is a point. So from coming from a global uncertainties to looking at some of the movements which are happening very currently in last six, kind of weeks of share market, I would feel that there is going to be this kind of an environment around. However, what gives us a satisfaction when you're looking into the more detailed aspect of the results which are there? So when you look at TCS, Infosys, HCL Systems, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, and LTI Mindtree, some of the observations based on the number which I have is, as you rightly pointed out, the numbers have reduced. Attrition has come to kind of a stable, except of TCS, which could be a reason where they themselves have initiated some of the actions. We have definitely been seeing there is a increase in the top line. Okay, all these organizations have increased. So if I look at this five companies which I talked about, if I look at the summary of them, and these five companies would lead to about 25% of a manpower in the industry. So they are going to be a trendsetter. So whatever happens here for this five, six companies would be a trendsetter for the IT services industry. So I feel in first quarter they were about 20 billion kind of a revenue, 20.6 billion, whereas in this quarter is 20 point, 5.7 or 5.8 kind of a thing. So there's a steady increase of 2.54%. So if I take it as a round figure, a 3% increase in a quarter of a top line talks a lot. So it's not a point to get kind of really panicky about it. However, one of the major aspect, there is a reduction in the manpower in TCS, Infosys, Wipro, 7,000, 6,000, 3,000, as you mentioned. It did not impact the top line. Also, while you look at the net margins, the net margins also speak positive. What does that mean? The IT organizations have really implemented the aspect of efficiency, productivity, ensuring that they're able to really make the things happen for themselves. Now, when you are indicating there's a pressure on the margin, my perspective is client also is going through a tough time. So it's a real partnership which is working, which says that wherever possible, I will try to help you. Whereas wherever possible, you have to show your intention to make it better. I think this is something which is turning out to be, in my observation, that I will stretch myself, you stretch, and I think that's going to be working out as a very good model with the clients to they understand your problem and you understand their problem and kind of show to them that you are ready to do take a step forward to be more efficient, productive, and so called able to be in the game to see that you are able to deliver better.
As the company has reported, in the first quarter, almost all the companies except the TCS, they reported the dip in their headcounts, the manpower number, not the TCS. This time, TCS has also reported there's a dip of around 7,000 employees in the total headcounts, though it's a very marginal. If you have the 6 lakh, over 6 lakhs number, and then 7,000 number is not a big number. Infosys that
Absolutely.
has also reported around the tip of 6,000 numbers. Earlier, they have reported around 3,36,294, and in the second quarter, they have reported 3,22,764. Similarly, Wipro has also reported a dip in the headcount numbers. SCL has also reported the dip in headcount numbers, but these are the marginals 5,000, 6,000, 2,000. If you have the numbers in lakhs, so this is nothing to get panic about this. But this gives you a clue, this gives you an indication that how the hiring is going to be in the next quarter, in this incoming quarters. How do you see the impact of this in hiring?
Now, one of the thing which is there, while we are saying this, if you look at some of the reports which are coming in, HCL has already won the big contract of 3.7 billion, which is running over number of years, multiple year contract, and the whole contract starts execution from November 1st. What does that mean? Whatever work you have on top of it, you are able to drive the things which are new. So you need to hire the manpower. And that's going to happen for HCL. While I'm talking about HCL, the similar way, Infosys has backed a big multi-year contract of something like 7 billion. TCS has backed a contract of 11 billion plus. Now, what does this is something which gives me again, as I said, a positive stroke saying that we are going to have much more opportunities, and now the contracts are coming up as a multi years, and these are all big wins. So quarter three, October to December, the hiring will happen, but it's going to be pick and choose hiring of the people who are able to run the whole of their attitude or other aspects. They are skillful and they're ready to run fast. Now that's going to be the change in scenario. What I'm trying to say or observe, there's a change in the way we used to work earlier in IT services where you would have a flab, you would have investments done on the people who would come and be with you for 6 months, then they will be billable, there would be a bench of particular percentage. All this is not going to remain probably, because if you are going to be facing the competition and you have to really give the kind of deliverables to the customer, best of the delivery and take terms of technology and delivery and the price, then you need to really run your game in a different way. And that's the change which I see. So will hiring be really low? No, because I see a good amount of big wins, and typically with Infosys, TCS, HCL, shows that there's going to be definite good hiring.
May not be much impact on the lateral hires, but already two companies, Infosys and Wipro, they have announced that they're not going for the campus hiring in this year, and it is a big statement for especially freshers and for the campus tour. So, how do you see the impact
Yes.
on the campus hiring?
See, Romesh, if you look at the campus, the academics, engineering grads, etc., they have learned right from pandemic time that there is going to be uncertainty. Now, while the so-called organizations are going to have the campus hiring plans, there is a lot of learning by these institutes which are actually training the engineers to see that they are able to fit in faster. There's a lot of efforts taken by the institutes. Some of them I know out of Mumbai, Pune, or even Bangalore. They all have been working to see that how best they are able to match in the industry, and how they are able to put in the skillful kind of resources, and they are ready to extend it to the extent saying that I'll give you an internship where the campus grad will work with you at very minimal or no cost for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months even. Now when this kind of a learning comes in, and they have been skilling the folks that they should have a least investment from the big organizations. I think maybe Wipro, or for that matter, Infosys may not go into the campuses, but mid-sized organizations also would able to pick up a talent. Again, the campuses have learned to create a talent which is marketable, or which is really able to start quickly in the corporate. So it's again, I would say, understanding or maturity from the campus side also, which is going to play. However, it's not going to be the easy game. Like earlier, if we were able to place say 100, the number may reduce to maybe 60. Okay, so that's going to happen, but and the wider spread they will have to go in. So let's say if Wipro and Infosys together were hiring about 25-30,000, then they will have to find more players who are able to hire maybe in the range of 200, 500, and spread them into different geographies and different mid or bigger size company. And along with that, campuses have also started exploring the core industries, and that's something which is change which I hear. I met some of the uh, dean training placement officers, and they also understand what is changing, and how do they respond to this particular change situation. Yeah, so that's though I would say there is going to be impact, but there's a learning that we have to take this impact in a different way. Yeah,
And we can also see the
that's my
delay in onboarding because
yes.
there are also in media a lot of news. Even TCS is called by the labor office why there's a delay. Why, and that is for the lateral recruitment. So Wipro has also
See
said
the
that I'll start the campus hiring when I'll finish this onboarding, which already the offers have been floated. So there may be the delay in onboarding process. This is the impact we can
Absolutely.
also see.
No, this is because, again, as I said, we are working on productivity efficiency. So if I'm not able to match my math saying that 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, I will hold for hiring the new and still want to survive and make my top line, bottom line happen as we have promised to the investors and as we have promised to the client in deliverables. Yeah. I think there's a definite change which I'm seeing. There's a lot of learning from quarter one, okay, and which has been applied in quarter two, and I would say definitely we'll be more wiser as we go ahead in next 2 quarters.
There's one more interesting data when we discuss about the net profit of the company. While the top officers of the companies they were sharing the report, almost everyone said that margins are under pressure. So, but if you look at the data, so if you compare with first quarter of financial year 24, so TCS announced the net profit that time was 11,074 crore, and in second quarter they have announced 11,342 crore. So that is little uprise in the net profit.
Yeah,
Similarly,
as
with
I see
the
19.7, it has gone to 21.5. That's what
right.
the number looks to be.
Similarly, with
Yeah.
the Infosys, earlier in the first quarter, it was 5,945 crore, and in this quarter, it is 6,212 crore. HCLTech, it was 3,534 crore. This time, it is a 3,832 crore. With the Wipro, it was 2,870 crore. Yeah, there's a dip this time,
There's
and
a dip in,
this is
yes, Wipro.
yeah, dip with the Wipro only. This is a 2,667 crore. How do you see this? Stress on the margins, but if you look at the net profit, so net profits, there's a little uprise. How do you see this? It means they're having the projects, good projects they're having.
See, one is good projects, and two, ensuring that I'm able to have the cost control. These are all related aspect. One is how much is the manpower I have on each of the project, which project is giving me more margins. Okay, how do I balance the game by ensuring that there is a right efficiency which I'm able to put into it. Okay, if you look at the reports and some of the comments which have been given, the SGA cost, sales general administration cost, by majority of this company, they have reviewed it and seen that wherever possible they have reduced it. Okay, and I think we are becoming more and more conscious to see that we want to deliver and be better, to see that we are able to get the bigger wins, I think. And that's resulting into a positive aspect. And as this uncertainty goes, there's going to be always a pressure. It's not an easy market today. It's not that you are able to predict so easily, saying that, we are able to make this kind of thing happens. Everybody who projected the, quarter two have moved by few percentage downside rather than upper side, because there's uncertainty around. So I feel learning of efficiency, ensuring that we are able to deliver best is there. And I think that's going to result in much better way as we go ahead. So margin pressure is going to be a constant factor, but delivering under this particular so called adversity and uncertainty is going to be a, challenge or name of the game.
They're having the business, it means everything is on track, nothing to much worry about this. If you have the business, then nothing to much worry about this. Another interesting data is the employee attrition. So if you look at the second quarter results, so there's a big relief for all the IT companies that attrition has reached to the pre-pandemic level, and almost this is around 15 to 15, 14 to 15% with all the 4 5 top companies.
Yes.
Recently, TCS has also called their employees to work for the 5 days, means complete shift from hybrid to work from office, no work from home now. How do you see this shift? This is because attrition is in control now. The demand and supply, that is also in favor. So let's go with the 5 days working.
One of the thing, Romesh, is if you look at, typical pandemic time and post pandemic, we have got into the great resignations, we have given the salaries, we did the hiring helter skelter. Okay, and that being a reason, whatever that extra aspects which happened, okay, we are trying to get into a control of it. People have realized, and this change also, I would say, of asking people to come 5 days a week has been actually step by step. Okay, transitional. There were some companies which insisted you start immediately 5 days. It didn't happen. Okay, then it was extended to 2 days, then it was extended to 3 days. Okay, currently many organizations are going through kind of 3 days thing. Okay, and the Infis, or for that matter TCS, is asking to come for 5 days. There is a all these big organizations. In fact, recently I believe, Infi has opened up office even in the remote place somewhere. So point is, they would like to give that comfort and environment of the office to the employees. There is a different thought processes. Some of them feel that, we can have the employees at home and still they are able to work. Like last time we have discussed, IBM said that, unless you meet together you are not able to really innovate, or there's a requirement of a team coming together. So there are a lot of plus points of working from the office. And there were times when there was a compulsion of not allowing you to work from the office. One of the things which every organization is now taking care of, they've been little flexible. So if you look at TCS asking for 5 days a week come in, they have been asking typically with the flexibility that not that I'm going to deduct something or do something. So the whole tone of the organization have changed. And if you look at TCS, Infosys, HCL Systems, these are the Wipros, these are the organizations which are having a big infrastructure with them. So they have, maybe if they have employees X, then they have 20% more as an infrastructure, which is not the case with the mid-sized companies, which has grown during the pandemic. They've hired big, and today they don't have so-called office infrastructure to deal with. And these are the organizations which are still working in the hybrid model, where they are wanting people to come 2 days 3 days a week, and kind of still have their productivity going on well, monitoring the productivity, ensuring that they are able to deliver. So in my opinion, maybe 2024 would be a time, first quarter or second quarter, we would see that majority of the organization will ask people to come 5 days a week. And all these companies which are wanting this feature of hybrid would be because of their own choices, saying that I don't have a big infrastructure and it does not impact my top line or a bottom line by people working out of their own houses or anywhere else. So there's going to be this mixed bag, wherein some of the organizations who are having infrastructure would ask 5 days a week, and some of the mid-sized organizations with their own intentions and plan, they would ask people to work from home for maybe limited time, or maybe you know all 5 days of the week. So there's going to be this kind of a mixed thing which is going to happen according to me. But there is a definite advantage of working from office 5 days a week, especially for the folks who are supposed to work in team, supposed to drive the projects, supposed to, kind of, there are big wins which are coming and supposed to work on these new proposals for the clients. You need to be together while there are tools, techniques available. Virtual working versus the physical working, there are distinct advantage on both the sides. But I would tend to go towards physical working for majority of the time, if not 5 days a week, at least 3 days a week. That would be my point of view and observations on this point, Ramesh.
I think already you have responded the question I was supposed to ask, that how do you see the future of working models? So already you have responded on this. I'll take another important aspect of this report, because some of the companies, even Accenture, they have announced not to not to go for the salary hikes in this year. There
Absolutely,
are also a
absolutely.
lot more companies where the salary hikes are deferred. How do you see this trend?
Yeah, yeah. So, typically TCS has gone 6 to 8%, Wipro has gone 2.8% of the hike. There are organizations like Persistent and others, they've gone for it. LTI Mindtree has gone for a hike. Now, everybody has a different reason. Okay. And this is where I'm saying, when we get the salary surveys and I see that across the industry, X percentage is there and all, which is difficult to believe, because each one has their own different stories. Now, if you look at TCS, they wanted to obviously, reward the people who are doing better, and they have had their own, pluses, as well as some of the areas where they wanted to clean up the things, and that being a reason to keep the morale up. 6 to 8% was important for TCS to spend. Wipro has promised earlier to do better, but they didn't do better, so their percentage is less. Okay. Infosys clearly said they are not going to do it because they were not certain that they will able to have the results what they are expecting they'll able to achieve. And if LTI Mindtree, if I talk about, I'm saying there was a definite so-called integration which happened there. Now, when the integration happened of LTI and a Mindtree, there would be leveling up, or there would be some of the aspects which would work on to see that we are able to create the equity. And that could be a reason there would be an increase in the pay. It could be across the board, or could be in some trenches where it was necessary to have this particular equalizer as an important thing. Tech Mahindra deferred the senior employees, increments. So for me, it's a different story for different folks, and it's not a standard answer. And that's going to be the scenario, that it will not be industry bound kind of increases, because even the salaries are not the same. or the technology which you're driving. So example, if I'm talking about Wipro, if they're going to drive IT infrastructure services versus, if Infosys is driving majority of BFSI, there's going to be definite salary ranges differences and the increase differences also. So it's going to be definitely a separate story for each one. Okay, and I believe 2024, when your new contract starts, when you're able to see that you're able to have the better margins or better new projects where you're able to continue and able to see through, saying that okay, next 1 year, next 3 quarters, next 4 quarters, I'm able to do better. I think I'm sure we will able to come back to our salary increases. However, if again coming back to the points post pandemic, when the hiring happened, there was a huge corrections of the salary which took place. The salaries have increased. If I give my own opinion, okay, not basically any research or numbers, but in my opinion, overall salary have ranged up for the year of experience 3 to 12. It has gone up by 20% across the board. Now that's something which is not sustainable, that every year you're able to give that kind of a salary increases. So there's going to be again the learning as to what we are doing, how we are doing better. But if you look at this attrition data, it shows you that that's not going to be the impactful point, that you have got 6% or 8%, or you have not got any increment, you're going to just jump off, because everybody is running the tight ship, and if the jumping from one place to another is happening to the extent of limited extent, but it's not the exodus like what we have seen during the Great Resignation. So today the game is not completely with employees. Employers have a part to play, and that being a reason, they are able to drive it based on their numbers and able to give that decisions directly, because there is certainly a demand supply situation as you mentioned. And today, when the things will ease out, maybe by end 2024 or 25 quarter 1, you will see again a change when the new technologies come in, like AI in the full swing, it will come, or machine learning, AI, and various other tool comes in. Again, there would be a huge demand, and could be a cycle would come back of getting this 15-20% of increases, or the hiring even happening at 50% more or 70% more than what your previous CTC. But that we don't see that scenario for next at least 3 to 4 quarters very clearly.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. If you look at the data, and if the companies are having good projects, and if there is a rise in the net profit, so this is just a balancing time. Maybe the headcounts, maybe the salary part, and the next, as you already shared your opinion, that in next 2-3 quarters, the things may be again in a shining way. So thank you so much, Milind, for joining the conversation and sharing the wonderful thoughts. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye bye.